folks. It's Laura with Rain Tree Nursery, and we are here today with James and Rye and a sweet little food garden. Tell me about this garden.
Yeah, so this is actually James's parents' place, and they moved in a couple years ago, and obviously they are huge fans of Rain Tree, and they get a few gifts from us, and we love coming over and seeing what is growing well in this area and seeing maybe what experiment didn't work out. And so I know James has been running this for a few years. What kind of have you put back here?
We've put some huckleberries, some blueberries, there's apples, a couple grapes stuffed in with cherries, stuffed in with gooseberries,
Nice.
strawberries, all kinds of stuff. So it's kind of a mishmash.
Excellent. Oh, I'm excited to see how everything's doing. Let's take a look. All right, so I see we've got some evergreen huckleberries.
Yes.
These are sweet plants, and I see we've got some blooms on them.
Yeah.
But it seems like kind of an exposed location for them.
Okay.
I wonder if, because these are normally understory forest plants.
True, right. They
Right.
grow native here in Washington. We see them on hikes.
Yeah.
So fun.
And it's really, and they can be incredibly productive. Little tiny
Yeah.
berries, just like all over the bush. But because this is normally an understory plant, I know we can put these in a sunny spot,
Yeah.
but it's not their favorite place. And I can see we're seeing some dieback here.
Oh, okay.
I'm starting to see a lot of just not healthy leaves and discoloration,
Oh, okay.
which normally you wouldn't see in these. These are cast iron plants, and they're unusual in that they will fruit abundantly in shadier locations.
Okay.
So I would take this opportunity to maybe put them on the north side of your house.
Yeah.
Or put them on the other side of something that's really big and bulky, so that you get that lush abundance,
Yeah.
but then the plants are happier and they'll give you more flowers and more fruit.
Now I have some sort of forested area on the back side of the house. Should I put them next to the trees over there? Will they be happy together, sort of mimic their native environment?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, your instinct is absolutely
Okay.
right on, because that's how they grow in nature. So
Makes
it
sense.
makes sense that we would watch those relationships and those positions and mimic that. Yeah, absolutely right.
So is this an okay time to transplant them?
Yes. Now, even though this is an evergreen plant, so it never goes completely dormant, it's slow growing right now because we're just beginning to warm up. So yes, this is the perfect time to move something like this.
Perfect. And do I need to prune or do any other care to my huckleberries?
No.
Just let them go?
Just let them go.
Cool. And about when do they fruit? Are they kind of slower going?
They're not because they're a wild plant.
Yeah.
They're not bred to be giving you all of their fruit all at one time. And so you'll get dribs and drabs all season long, but you'll just get bigger dribs and drabs if the plant is happier.
Cool. So you're saying mimic nature.
Yes.
It's okay to transplant them. Don't toss them.
Right.
And find a nice shaded area for them.
For this particular plant, that's where it's really going to shine.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, Laura.
Yeah, you bet. All right. What have we got here? Looks like something's being protected. Is this for deer?
It is not for deer. It's actually for the birds. All of the plants that we have in here, so far, we have yet to pull anything off of because we haven't protected them from the birds in the past. So
That makes total sense.
yeah.
So all the tasty berries, I see strawberries.
Strawberries, we've got a gooseberry here, cherries, raspberry, and actually a grape back there.
Nice. Yeah, this is a great example of how you can get a lot of plants into a relatively small space. I
Yeah.
love how you are using the space here. You've got your ground covers and the strawberries, you've got trees, you've got bushes, and you've even got a vine.
All in one cage, yeah.
This is sweet. Now, it looks like, well, you tell me how this functions and I'll tell you what it looks like.
Well, the way it functions is basically everything that we didn't know whether or not it would do well here. So we decided to just plant it all and wait to see what was thriving.
Yeah.
And knowing that some of the stuff we're going to end up removing or transplanting. So far, it's obvious that the gooseberry is kind of a winner. This cherry is putting on tons of flower buds this year. This one, not so much. but the grape is looking good. So we'll have to see what we end up thinning out.
Yeah, this is nice. And you're smart to have watched it for a season and seen that the birds really like it,
Mm-hmm.
and then change your strategy and go for the netting. This is perfect.
Yeah.
I think what I'm seeing when I'm looking at this situation is it looks like the soil is not real fertile.
It's not. To be honest, this is basically a 2-inch layer of sort of very sandy topsoil, and then
Mm.
underneath that is actually a foot of Mount St. Helens volcanic ash.
Wow.
Yeah, we're right near it, and to get the plant's roots down through that ash is tough. It's always tough on the young plants, but we found that actually they do pretty well once they get through that. That ash is very well drained, so we never have drainage issues on this site. Everyone's site seems to so different. Some people have too much drainage, some people not enough. We end up just trying to find stuff that enjoys it more than amending it, just for ease. So we luckily have access to a lot of plants to just experiment with.
Yeah, and one of the interesting things about how to improve the quality of a soil is to add organic matter.
Yeah.
You could add 3 or 4 inches of straw.
Really, that much?
Yeah, that much. And it would shade the soil, so hold the moisture in.
Mhm.
It'll degrade over time. And adding straw works for
Really?
crappy heavy clay soils. It works for super sandy soils.
Yeah.
It breaks down slowly and gently and adds that nutrition slowly to the soil itself. And especially in something like strawberries, it lifts the berries up off the
dirt.
ground,
Yeah, so they
the
don't.
slugs don't get
Yes.
them,
Oh,
so they
man.
don't get dirty and they don't get wet.
Yeah.
And so you can accomplish a bunch of things all at one time if you choose to do something like that.
Oh, that sounds like what we need, because I bet it prevents some of the weeds too.
Yes.
And yeah.
Yes. Multiple functions
Yes,
by
yeah.
adding one element. I
Mhm,
love that.
mhm.
So, and it'll look tidy too.
Yeah.
So you can kind of get that all in here and then watch how the plants respond to it. It will also make it easier to weed. See, this
Mhm.
is one of the reasons I know that this isn't super fertile soil. It's because there aren't very
Yeah.
many weeds
I
in
know.
it.
Isn't that so funny? Yeah. I was expecting a lot more of a fight, and the fact that it's been this easy is telling.
Yeah, yeah. And so, yes, it may grow a few more weeds, although not many because the soil will be shaded, so there
Mhm.
won't be a lot of germination happening.
That's what we're hoping. Yeah.
But the weeds that do come will just pull right out.
yeah.
And then you can even just put them back on top of the straw.
Yeah.
They
And
can
just
become part of
yeah,
the
it'll just
organic
compost
matter.
in.
And boop, everything just,
Works its way down.
yeah, it's a super easy way to do it. So yes, I think there's a lot of potential here. And I love how you're keeping these really tightly pruned. That's absolutely fine. And I am super excited to see how this will progress
Yeah.
this year.
And for the first time, maybe actually taste the fruit.
Absolutely. Nicely done. All right, let's take a look at something else.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. This apple tree is crazy. Look at all of these spurs and baby
Yes.
blooms. Wow. What did you do?
So with this apple tree, we didn't get any apples 2 years ago, or
Uh-huh.
2 or 3 years ago. I can't remember, but there was almost no flowers on it. It just, all the growth seemed very vegetative, and so I decided to just do a lot of heading cuts on it. And I may have overdone it. Now it seems like it's putting all of its energy into producing fruit, and I'm a little worried about the fruit set on it.
Well, yes. There can be too much of a good thing. Now, you pruned this in the wintertime while it was
Yes.
dormant, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yep.
So this is a classic thing that happens when people are trying to change the height of a plant, or they want to awaken some more of the spur production lower
Mhm.
down. They cut whole branches
Yeah.
off. And I can see there's all kinds of evidence of branches. There's one that cut
Yeah.
off there.
Like right here, I just,
Yeah, clip the whole branch.
yeah.
And as you can see, what that does is it spurs a lot of internodal growth.
Yes.
It wakes up a
Yep.
lot of
It says, "I need to
fruiting
produce
spurs,
fruit." Yeah.
right? And the problem that you run into when you do something like this is that you can exhaust the tree by
Mhm.
asking it to produce so much fruit
Yeah.
that it doesn't have any energy for any more vegetative growth. So then
Yeah.
you've swung the pendulum in the other
Exactly.
direction.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling.
Yeah. So there's a couple of things that you could do. Number one, I'd let everything bloom.
Okay.
And allow the pollinators to just
Yeah,
feast on all
yeah.
the nectar and the pollen. And then I would probably go through and I would just quickly thin
Okay.
to one fruit per spur.
Okay.
Um, you might even decide to start cutting spurs off.
Yeah, just removing them all together.
Yeah.
Like ones that are pointing at each other. And
Right,
yeah.
because there's just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's just
Yeah,
spurs.
so many spurs. Yeah.
All over the place, and they don't need to be there. And so to simply respect the health of the tree,
Yeah.
I would probably go through and gently and quickly, this doesn't have to take forever,
Yeah.
just clip off the really short little spurs.
Okay.
So what you're leaving is some,
Yeah, some of the small little ones.
but just not quite so many.
Yeah, yeah.
And I can see there's lots of good growth on this tree, so it's still really healthy. You didn't damage it.
Yeah.
But what you've done is
Yeah.
going to take a year or two to manage.
Yeah. I shouldn't do
And-
more heading cuts this winter. right?
Probably
Yeah.
not. No. And then if you decide that, you've awakened as much as you want to awaken on this tree.
Yes. Yeah.
So if you decided you wanted to keep it short, now would be the time to practice summer pruning.
Okay.
As
Yeah.
you see the new growth start to extend, you just, at the end of June, end of June prune,
Yeah.
you cut off at least 3 inches,
Yeah.
and you will have taken off what the tree was going to use to grow with that
Mhm.
year, and then it won't extend anymore.
Yeah. It'll just stay short.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll stay
Great.
short.
That's perfect.
It won't
Yeah.
spur any more growth,
Yeah.
and it's quick, it's easy. You could do this in 20 minutes.
Great. Yeah, because we got so many apples the first year when we took over this property, and it was great. And then the next year was just like nothing, and so I kind of panicked. And it looks like we're gonna get a good harvest this year, though.
And you learned a lot.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, trees are very generous teachers.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. This will be beautiful
Yeah.
in the fall. Oh my goodness, this poor little
know.
friend. This is a hungry blueberry.
Yeah.
I can see a lot of dead wood on this. I've seen several other blueberries that look like this here on this site,
Yep.
and I think I can tell you why.
Okay.
It's
please.
because of the slope.
Yeah.
Um,
that makes sense.
Blueberries are such water-hungry plants that it's very difficult to grow them successfully on a slope
Sure.
because the water just runs right off.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's something you can really fix in this particular circumstance. I think this plant would be happy to be moved. It's not even barely leafing out.
Mhm.
It would be easy to be moved and to be located somewhere where it's really close to a water source
Ah, okay.
and where you can have it just in a flat area with other blueberries. You can make it like a little hedge,
Mm-hmm.
but you could just flood water the whole basin at the base of all of the berries together. They would get lots of water. You can amend that soil so it's nice and rich.
Yeah.
This will do so much better in a situation like that.
Blueberries are my favorite. I grew up eating blueberries. I'm from the Northwest, and all I want is a healthy, vibrant blueberry patch.
Yeah.
And we have a spot here. They have a fish pond, and there's a kind of a flat spot down from it. Do you think I could do something?
Absolutely.
Over there?
Yeah. You could. That's a great idea. You could
Okay.
take the fish water
Oh
that
yeah.
already has fertilizer in it,
Mhm.
and you could use that to water the blueberries a couple of times a month.
Okay.
And that would be so perfect. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Okay. So transplant these, hook up the pump to the pond, and these will be happier campers.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah. You can save these babies.
Oh, good.
All right. Well, thanks for coming out, Laura. We really enjoyed having
yeah.
you, and these are some real pointers that we can take. We're gonna implement some of these, and hopefully have you back to check it out.
Absolutely. Just a few tweaks, and this will be even more productive. It's so exciting to see how everybody sets up their gardens. Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you next time from Rain Tree Nursery. Bye-bye.